Alrighty, sorry my camera cut out once again, folks, but yeah, that's what I was saying, and I'll say it one more time that they the trains, yeah, so the trains that do not so the trains that do not have their own Bluetooth controller, like my Thomas Percy James, oh, and also my Diesel Polar Express train and the Thomas Christmas freights that I also have, those ones have their own Bluetooth controller, and they each came with one in the sets that I got. Those have their own Bluetooth controllers, and then you like plug in like the black thing to the wall, which is this thing. You plug it into the wall, then you hook it up right there to the track, and then you just run it with their own remotes and everything, whichever remote goes with which engine. And then, but these ones are different though, because I know I showed it a bunch of times that one of the engines that doesn't have um, their own like controller and everything is the Amtrak engine that I just showed a bunch of times. That's one of them, and the steam engine that I have, that Chessie Ohio system, whatever it's called. Um, because those engines, like that steam engine I said, and then the Amtrak engine, especially that I showed a bunch of times, like those types of engines run on these types of controllers. You just put it on the track, and they run on their own. So that's what I mean, folks, is that the trains that run on their own, that do not have their own remotes and everything, where they run on controllers like this, because these were trains that were made long before like the Bluetooth stuff came around, before each of the Lionel sets came with like their own remotes and everything. Then you plug in like the black thing to the wall. So yeah, anyhow, so that's what I mean, folks, is A, I'm gonna get myself a new controller, and B, I'm gonna get a new terminal track, because yeah, the only two that I have are pretty much like like basically like out of date and everything. Like out of date and everything, meaning like, the rail system, one of the rails on the track is not good. It's in rough shape, and the other one is burnt out and everything. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, like it is what it is. So yeah, like me getting a new controller, that I'm hoping that there's one out there that's going to be better than this one right here. So I need a new controller. That's one that's going to be better than this. Like a controller that's going to be strong enough to be able to handle like the heavier trains and everything. So that's one. Hopefully the owner of my local train store, the owner of it, has some like recommendations, like what's the best one to like use and everything. So hopefully he recommends something good to use and everything. What's the best controller out there? So that's one. I'll be getting a new controller, whichever is the best one that's better than the CW80. And then two is going to be, I'm going to need a new terminal fast track. So then that way I can plug this into, like, you know how it goes and everything. So yeah. So yeah, those two things that I need new things of, those are the two new things right there that I just said. That's going to like save me and everything, especially save my trains and everything that run on like these types of controllers and everything, as they do not run on the Bluetooth stuff, because that's what's gonna save like that part of like my old scale trains and everything. So yeah, so as you can see, yeah, this track I set up just for the trains right here, that are those ones right there. As for like others too that I have that are like that, those are for this track right here only, and then these two right here are for the Bluetooth ones, as you guys can see. But however, until I can find a new controller and a new terminal track that would go along with this track, and with my other trains over there that do not run on like the Bluetooth track system or whatever, as they do not have their own remotes, that until I can find a new terminal track and a new throttle controller, whatever, for those trains over there, for this track here, then until I can do that, I'm actually leaving this track open for my other Bluetooth trains till I run on, because what I did was I basically connected a track right here to like over here. So yeah, folks. Alright, folks, so you know what? I'm going to run some trains right now, actually, for you guys. Yeah. All right. And yeah, if my camera shuts off or something without me shutting it off, that means like I ran out of film or something, because lately I've been out of film lately. So yeah, once again, folks, until I find myself a new controller that'll go with like this track right here, and same thing with a new terminal track like these ones right here that are not in good shape, until I could find those two things, because those are the two things that are gonna save this part of my O scale layout and collection, and trains that and the trains that have access to like those and everything, as they do not have their own remotes like these ones do right here. So yeah, so you guys know what I mean by that and everything, as there's a lot of people out there that are into Lino O scale and everything, but I'm more into N scale and HO scale. So yeah, all right, enough of the talk and everything. So let's run these trains. Whoops. Okay. So yeah, folks, that's what I decided, was that I figured these two tracks right here, leave it open for the Bluetooth trains, as you guys can see. And yeah. So yeah, like these two tracks right here, I left these open for the Bluetooth trains, because I figure, you know what, I think it would look more professional to have two of my Bluetooth trains running at the same time. So yeah, and then over here have my CW80 controller like running the trains that do not have their own remotes like these guys do here. So yeah, but then the unfortunate part was all three, well, obviously my CW80 controller stopped working. The only one good one that I've always used for years, that pretty much stopped, and I just unscrewed the throttle thinking that there was wires there and I could fix something, but yeah, that's that, and now I can't get it to run. But then when I close the door to come downstairs, then the other two right here, and I still gotta pick up over there, I still gotta clean it up. That it slipped out of my hand, and yeah. There we go. But yeah, so since that happened, and then obviously those those are the only two terminal tracks that I have only. And obviously, so that's why I got to get a new terminal track and a new controller that's better and bigger possibly than the CW80s, because those are the two things right there that I need two new things of. Well, obviously one of each of those new things, because those two things right there that I got to get new ones of is what's gonna save me and everything, but mostly save like my O-scale trains and everything. So in that way, the O-scale trains of mine that do not have their own remotes like this and everything can like be up to date and get in running and run along this track again. Then I can take this down and everything. And yeah, and that's what I mean, folks. So yeah. But until that happens, until that happens, I'm just gonna leave this open for my other Bluetooth train, so that I can run 3 of my Bluetooth trains at the same time until I can find a controller that's gonna be the right one to like run my other type of O-scale engines and trains that do not have their own remotes like this on this track right here, because I rather the ones that do not have the Bluetooth run on this track right here, keep it one track, and then keep it these 2 tracks for the Bluetooth trains. Like basically like have them like on like separate tracks. The Bluetooth trains on separate tracks, like the Bluetooth trains on these 2 tracks, and then the non-Bluetooth trains on that track where my finger's pointing. But yeah, but until I find myself a controller that'll run my trains that are not Bluetooth and a new terminal track, because those 2 new things, that once I get those 2 new things, that's what's gonna help me get those other engines and trains that are not Bluetooth at all, that do not have their own remotes like these, to run on this track again, so I can get back on track with it. But until that happens, like until I find another one of those, that's why I decided to hook up another switch track here right to here and to connect it right to there.